gone over to Fayette County Jail, which is right in the Fayetteville Square. It's 145 Johnson Avenue. Yeah. Normally, I would say a couple hours is the process. It just depends on how busy they are and like that, okay? The driving on the suspended is basically a traffic citation. She's got to have her fingerprints done and picture taken, then she can make her bonds. You can pay it cash, use a bondsman, be 10%, whatever. They've got a list of people over there, too, that you can choose from and use whatever.
Where was she stopped?
So the vehicle's registered to her. Okay. I don't know if it was on a flock hit or if the officer observed some kind of traffic infraction. It wasn't me. I didn't make traffic stop. He's already gone and got her going. Okay.
Recently, leaked footage from an FBI raid on Fani Willis's residence surfaced online, sparking a wave of controversy. The footage shows a tense encounter between Willis and FBI agents. Fani, known for her public persona as a tough, no-nonsense figure, appeared visibly shaken during the search, fueling public curiosity about the extent of her alleged involvement in ongoing investigations.
Willis was arrested in Tyrone, Georgia, for driving with a suspended license last week. And guess who shows up? You're not going to believe this. In this body cam footage that just got released today. Remember, just a really quick wrap up, Fani Willis is the district attorney of Fulton County. She's the one who charged the indictment against Trump and 18 other co-defendants in the Georgia election interference case. She went through an entire disqualification hearing scandal where she was accused, and there was a lot of evidence that corroborated this. We've been following this for a while, of expending taxpayer forfeiture funds, engaged in an adulterous affair, taking advantage of that relationship with taxpayer money, lying under oath.
Fani Willis has been at the center of numerous alleged scandals, many of which critics argue are self-inflicted. She has faced accusations ranging from corruption and misuse of public funds to alleged involvement in criminal activities with her associates. Her critics claim that Willis has long exploited her position for personal gain, using her influence to shield herself from accountability.
For now, it could be resurrected if the Georgia Court of Appeals, the appellate court, weighs in, when they weigh in, if they say, you know what, she shouldn't be disqualified, the lower court had it right, and this case can now be revived, then they're still going to have to go through the immunity evaluation that I just discussed in connection with the New York case. But in any event, right now it's dead as her DQ goes up on appeal, the decision not to DQ her. Well, one of the interesting things is she testified, and so did Nathan Wade, that their relationship, their affair, ended a year prior to all of this. Like they understood at some point before they got in trouble, it wasn't appropriate, and they cut it off. And what happened was in late August 24th, her daughter got, I think, forgive me, but I think she was arrested for having a suspended license. Because what we see in the video I'm about to show you is the mom, Fani Willis, show up, and the daughter's not there. And the cop is explaining to her that the daughter, who is pregnant, has been, I think, taken away. That's what I heard, because she'd been pulled over for allegedly using a cell phone behind the wheel. And then they found that she had an earlier run-in with the law that had not yet been resolved. And that's how they wind up arresting you. She'd been on the phone with Fani Willis, reportedly. And I guess her license had been revoked a few months earlier. She said she was unaware of that. In any event, this kind of thing can happen. This isn't about the daughter and whatever her traffic issues are.
Nathan Wonder recently found himself in the spotlight after a dramatic arrest that was caught on camera. Wonder, who has been linked to several of the scandals surrounding Willis, appeared defiant and uncooperative during the arrest.
Mom, Dad, what's the... Okay.
Nice to meet you.
So, Corporal Clark.
Nice to meet you. What?
So, apparently,
Nice to meet you.
apparently her license is suspended.
News to me, okay.
For something. Doesn't tell us what for or why or where, or that's something she's going to have to call DMV and find out. Okay. Probably what happened, she had a speeding ticket or some kind of traffic infraction, never went to court, didn't take care of it. Okay. That's the best guess. So, she's gone over to Fayette County Jail, which is right in the Fayetteville Square. It's 145 Johnson Avenue. Yeah. Normally, I would say a couple hours is the process. It just depends on how busy they are and like that, okay? The driving on the suspended is basically a traffic citation. She's got to have her fingerprints done and picture taken, then she can make her bond.
Allegations against Nathan Wanda and Fani Willis have grown more severe, with reports suggesting they have been involved in various criminal activities together. From misconduct to potential obstruction of justice, the duo has been under intense scrutiny. These allegations have only fueled public anger, as many believe that the partnership between Wanda and Willis symbolizes the worst of political corruption and misuse of power.
When your daughter moved or left the house that she owned, did she say anything to you about having a large savings of cash?
Oh, no, no. See, maybe, excuse me, and Your Honor, I'm not trying to be racist, okay? But it's a black thing, okay? You know, I was trained, and most black folks, they hide cash or they keep cash, and I trained, you always keep some cash, because I've been places, and just because of the color of my skin, for example, I took a fellowship at Harvard when my daughter was just, if I might, Your Honor, when I was just, she was just, maybe 3 years old. And I remember going to a restaurant in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and I had a American Express credit card and maybe a Visa or whatever.
In a recent court appearance, Fani Willis addressed allegations of financial misconduct after a significant amount of cash was discovered in her home during the FBI raid.
All of those reasons and what was happening, my father wanted me out the house, and begrudgingly I left.
Okay, so the answer to the question was yes, for safety reasons, correct?
Those were all of the things that caused the safety concerns. I'm sorry.
I'm not questioning whether they are or are not safety concerns. I just asked that you moved into this condo, the RT condo,
right,
for safety reasons, right?
Yes.
Okay. At the time that you moved into the condo, be it from February to April of 2021,
yes,
was your father still living in your house?
Right, because my father...
That's
yes,
all I ask you.
But I get to explain the answer, sir.
I don't know if there's an explanation. If I ask you, was your father still living at your house, the answer is either he was or he wasn't.
Yes, but you are going to get to argue at the end of this, as we both know.
I'm not going to argue anything. I'm going to ask.
To be able to explain why.
I'm going to.
So yes, because my father is an older gentleman, he was worried about COVID and he stayed.
Ms. Willis, I'm going to have to say that's the second time. Whenever we have to put a pause, you stop testifying, okay? You'll have a chance to explain yourself. The question was whether your father was not staying there at the time, and you're clarifying that in your answer as well. You can have a brief clarification, but it shouldn't be something that reaches well beyond the question. All right, Mr. Sadal, we can re-ask the question. We'll see where it takes us.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Willis claimed that the money was kept as emergency funds, stating that she often used cash for unexpected expenses.
And you don't have to yell at me. I'm able to understand. So I would ask you to not yell at me. That being said, I don't actually expressly remember, but I can tell you, since I have left my home, there have been times my oldest daughter came in. But I can't tell you with certainty the time window that you've said, if they did or not. And so I don't want to speculate to that, but there was some time that my oldest daughter came back. Whether it was that period or after I left the Yurdi residence, I'm not sure, okay?
During a tense courtroom session, Fani Willis was subjected to strict questioning by a lawyer representing the state. The lawyer pressed her on the details of her financial dealings and the source of the cash found in her home. Willis's responses grew increasingly defensive as the questioning intensified, with the lawyer highlighting inconsistencies in her statements.
On May 15th, Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis received a letter from the United States Senate highlighting her misuse of $500,000 for a youth empowerment and gang prevention center and $2 million for the sexual assault kit initiative. Instead, she spent those funds on traveling. In light of potential prosecution and disbarment, I respectfully ask Fani Willis to resign, effective immediately.
Critics argue that people like Fani Willis, with significant political connections and influence, often evade serious legal consequences. They claim that Willis's actions demonstrate a pattern of using her power to manipulate the system to her advantage. According to her detractors, the judicial system is rigged in favor of the powerful, allowing figures like Willis to sidestep accountability.
I know this, but black people are taught to have cash in their house, so I paid them in cash. The whole thing has been a joke from the start. Everyone understands that she's been lying. And I think this goes back to what we were just talking about in New York too with Alvin Bragg, which is when you have these cities that have one party rule and you have all this power in the hands of, very powerful people. Being a prosecutor is a very powerful position. The district attorney, there are no limits on it. And they begin to think that they can do whatever they want without consequence. And yeah, maybe it's a gigantic coincidence that she happened to be having lunch or dinner with her friend who used to be her boyfriend, who decided to go help her out with her daughter. But in general, that is not the way things happen, especially given the public scrutiny that you're under. And even the whole attempt to go to the scene as the district attorney to intervene in the daughter's case seems to be throwing her weight around as well. And I just think it reflects on the entire mentality that has governed the prosecution, just like in New York, of the case in Atlanta from the very start.
The investigation into Fani Willis has been ongoing for some time, with law enforcement officials steadily gathering evidence. Reports suggest that Willis' financial records, communications, and business dealings are all under scrutiny. Investigators have expressed concerns about the complexity of the case, noting that Willis's vast network and influence have made it difficult to uncover the full extent of her alleged crimes.
Speaking of disaster, Republicans are yet again scrambling like some eggs. Here, cheeky. Cluck, cluck. Here we go again with another investigation. By the time y'all finish all these investigations, Trump could have been undid his prison sentence. Cause it ain't gonna work. I don't care how many committees y'all come up with. It ain't gonna work. If y'all spend all this time investigating the person that y'all need to be investigating, we wouldn't need the headline. So the big font, the bold background, don't read that. Don't read that. Read this one instead. This the one they don't want y'all to read. And then they'll let y'all know that this is a goddamn sham. And I'm not talking about the sham that you sit on your grandmama's sofa. I'm talking about the sham that'll try to get you off of a prison sentence. Hello? If y'all don't remember Roman, I think Mike Roman, one of the defendants, his lawyer gonna try to use the fact that Fani and Mr. Wade had an alleged relationship from an unknown source while not providing any evidence. So from that stemmed now an investigation into Fani Willis. Again, if you don't know what these people are doing by now, I am not here to change your mind because you are lost. What country say in the sauce? But be ragu cause thick. So a made up accusation with no proof, again, to get the public's opinion of Fani to discredit her. That was the goal. Has now launched a full investigation. Again, the big font, bold background, don't read that. Don't read that. Read this one. I'm telling y'all to read this one. Because they done unsealed the divorce documents and Fani's name wasn't nowhere to be mentioned. So who is the source that y'all say Fani was the reason she was a part of the divorce? What was the name? Where's the name, LaShondra?
The case involving Fani Willis and Nathan Wanda is shaping up to be one of the biggest legal battles in Fulton County history. Despite the gravity of the charges, both Willis and Wanda have been accused of lying under oath, further complicating their legal troubles.
Either way, he is in what we call in the law a shit ton of trouble. You've jeopardized one of the biggest cases in the nation against Trump and the probably, almost undoubtedly, the biggest case in Fulton County history ever. Then you lie under oath to the court about it? Like other lies are uncovered? Here it is, Exhibit 4. Fani Willis. It's a November 30th purchase, 2022. Delta tickets from Atlanta to Miami and back, leaving Friday, December 30th, coming back Tuesday, January 3rd. 2 tickets. 1 ticket here for Fani Willis and 1 ticket here for Nathan Wade. And the price is listed at, for each ticket, $697.20. Now, they took 10 trips. I'm looking for 4 more. It's not in there. It's not in there. What happens after that is nothing. Other exhibits. That's the only proof of roughly equal. So this is another area in which his affidavit seems blatantly misleading.
During a recent church meeting, Fani Willis took the opportunity to address her critics, denying all allegations against her. She referred to those accusing her as idiots and expressed her frustration at being targeted by what she described as baseless attacks. Willis lamented that she had been subjected to personal and public scrutiny, including being over-mistreated.
What can I say? I lived the experience of a black woman who is attacked and over-sexualized. See, I'm so tired of hearing these idiots call my name as Fani in a way to attempt to humiliate me. Because like silly schoolboys, the name reminds them of a woman's rear, of her behind.
Willis did not mention anyone by name in her speech, but alluded to the moment Trump's former attorney, Rudy Giuliani, made an offensive remark about her at a Michigan church event last week.
Fani Willis' public statements have often been criticized as attempts to play the victim, even as evidence mounts against her. By framing herself as the target of unjust attacks, Willis has sought to garner sympathy and shift the narrative away from her alleged misconduct. Critics argue that this tactic is a calculated move, designed to distract the public from the real issues at hand.
Is this the chair Keanu Reeves sat in when he said,
"If you're a lover, you gotta be a fighter"?
How so?
Because if you don't fight for your love, what kind of love do you have?
Fani Willis's troubles are not new. She was also accused of involvement in a major case involving RICO charges about a year ago. This earlier case alleged that Willis had been complicit in orchestrating a series of corrupt business dealings and financial
I understand you have breaking news. What is it?
The Georgia State Senate has an investigation going on into the Fulton District Attorney's Office. There's a committee that's looking into this. Today, they've issued a subpoena. They've issued a subpoena to Attorney Ashley Merchant for all of her text communications related to this case. This is getting the attention of the authorities, not only in the state Senate, but there's ethics things going on here in Georgia. Fani Willis has a lot that she's gonna have to be on defense for.
Although she managed to evade significant legal repercussions at the time, the lingering doubts about her integrity have only intensified with the latest round of allegations. The RICO case continues to be cited by critics as a key example of her disregard for the law.
The foreseeable future, but suffice it to say, the Senate is now seeking all of these text communications to see if they can figure out what's going on. There's lots going on for her, and like we have said, I don't know if it was yesterday or last week, the truth will come out one way or another, and here it comes.
The public has grown increasingly frustrated with the seemingly endless cycle of scandals surrounding Fani Willis. Many citizens are calling for her to be held accountable, hoping that the justice system will finally prevail.
So what is the story with the Attorney General? It's a Republican, but Georgia's getting more and more blue. That's why Stacey Abrams still thinks she's governor. So is this person likely to pick up this investigation? Is there... because the left is thrilled. The left is thrilled she lived to fight another day. So there'll be pressure on him not to do it from the considerable blue voters in Georgia.
Right. It's hard for me to guess on that because I live in this moderate world. I'm kind of in the middle, and I just want justice. I just want due process. I want transparency. So I hope that the Attorney General will. But I don't know, the political outcome of that. I'm not sure if they will investigate it or not. I hope that they will, and I think a lot of people...
What about filing the motion? Because Phil Holloway was on the show last Friday, and he was saying there's a way for you guys to file a motion before Judge McAfee saying, we believe that 2 officers of the court perjured themselves, committed felonies in your courtroom, and as officers of the court, we're bringing this to your attention, but only if he finds that there is probable cause. I can't remember what the standard was before which he could refer it to the AG. It was a considerable standard, though.
Yes, and I'm still investigating. Some of the subpoenas that I sent for the evidentiary hearing, some of the business records are still coming in. So, we've recently got new records, from another travel agent. And so I'm digesting all of those. Another thing other than the phone records is the credit card statements. Now, if they've got subpoena power, they can subpoena anything that's relevant to a perjury inquiry, which are the texts, which are the records from the credit cards, things like that, travel records. They can subpoena all that. So I hope that they do. And I know that there's some investigations at the federal level. They've got subpoena power. So if they want to, they can subpoena all of those records. And I think it'll paint a much better picture of what was going on here.
They need to do it. We're going to call Jim Jordan's office this week and find out, because he's been investigating what she's been doing with federal money that we've given to her and whether it's being used properly, not in connection with this case, but in a sort of different lane. But it's related. I mean, do we have a felon running the Fulton County DA, the DA's office? Do we or don't we? I mean, this is what she says. She says she's the greatest DA ever. She's the best thing to ever happen to Fulton County. Here she was at that woman's event. I'll give you another soundbite. Do we have it, Kelly? Well, let's watch.
The constant revelations of alleged corruption have eroded trust in leadership, with community members demanding that individuals face the consequences of her actions.
She might not have had to testify in the first place. When she walked in, threw the sheaf of documents down on opposing counsel's table, put hand on hip, walked up with attitude, doing snake charm thing with her neck. At that point, the lawyers for the DA's office were arguing that she did not need to testify. She decided to override those lawyers. And one important aspect of this case is she was not on trial. She was merely being a witness at that point. And then she put herself into a position where you have the spectacle of the chief prosecuting officer for a major American city, Atlanta, needing to take the Fifth Amendment. So, one of the things that's interesting is that she had given evidence that there was a tax lien on her home. Now, to clear those up, you have to deal with some affidavits and satisfy IRS that you should be placed on an installment payment plan, all right? Then she's talking about she's got $15,000 in cash in the house. Then we have all of these cash transactions that should have been receipted and recorded. They weren't.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned until next time.